If you clicked on this video, you're most likely interested in learning more about how you can become an influencer in 2026, or you're just having dinner and need something to watch. Either or, I'm here to teach you my tips and tricks on how you can continue building an audience or start from scratch. First up, I'm not some random dude on the internet. I have the qualifications and experience to teach you. My name is Vincent. I'm the founder and CEO of Oddball Talent Group, a London-based talent and influencer marketing agency. We've been around for 4 years now, but I personally have worked in the field of social media, influencer management, whatever you want to call it, for around 8 years now. I started off as a model scout, then somehow ended up in fashion styling, working for some magazines and designers across Berlin, London, and New York. And a lot of my friends back in the day, when influencing started becoming profitable, needed help with their emails in regards to brand deals or event invites. And because I've always been more of an admin person, not really too comfortable in front of the camera, which is a bit of a paradox considering what I'm doing right now, I thought I'll give it a try, and I've never looked back. Done this for a couple of years freelance until I started interning and working for a few talent agencies across London. I've done this for around a year and a half, and then I know this sounds cocky, thought to myself, you know what, I can probably do this a bit better. And then back in 2022, I opened up Oddball Talent Group. Currently, we're focused on the entertainment sector. However, I've worked with creators in fashion, beauty, comedy, entertainment, whatever else is out there. But over the last year and a half, we set the focus more on film and TV entertainment creators. If you're looking for tips such as what hashtags to use and what are the best posting times, I'm not the right person to come to. Something that I've learned over the last 8 years in the industry is that social media consistently changes their rules. One thing might work right now, but in 3 months' time, it just doesn't anymore. So this video is specifically for people that want to find their niche, build their audience, and want to kind of understand what brands and agencies are looking for. Finding your niche is somewhat the easiest but also the hardest thing to do. Algorithms work in a way that they try to understand what you talk about, what your interests are, and then put your videos on the For You pages of the people that have similar interests. No one on this planet just has one interest. You might be a massive fan of film and TV, an amateur film critic some might say, but you also enjoy drawing or sports. So it's really important to narrow down your content in 3 to 4 pillars, and this is the content you make and put out. This rule does not apply for people that are naturally funny and want to go down the comedy niche, because I've realized over the years that comedy is one of the rare niches you can bring any factor into it, let it be lifestyle or fashion or even your film and TV content. However, other than the already established comedy creators, it is very rare to see an up-and-coming comedy creator finding their audience. Comedy, in my personal opinion, is dead. For the sake of this video, I'm going to use entertainment creators as an example, but you can switch this out for whatever your personal interests are. So you wake up one morning and think to yourself, I'm actually pretty funny, and my movie reviews normally do pretty well with my friends. Why not start posting them? Great choice. The entertainment industry specifically has never been bigger. Where do you start? I think with entertainment, like mentioned earlier, it is not too difficult to narrow down your interests. But if, for example, you're a lifestyle, home decor, fashion creator, you have to think about these things. First up, you have to ask yourself, is social media for me? Do I feel comfortable with putting myself as a target online? While social media can be the most beautiful and rewarding place, it can also be pretty scary out there. People feel too comfortable saying things online behind a screen that they would never say to your face. So you have to ask yourself if your skin is thick enough to put yourself out there. The next question I would ask myself is, do I feel comfortable in front of a camera? Am I funny? Am I engaging? Do I get camera shy? These are all things that you should kind of figure out before you put all of your time and investment into social media or starting a career on social media. Let's say you don't care what people think about you, you're charismatic and you can rip a joke. Perfect. Now it's about finding your niche. While we all have fallen victim to doom scrolling, the number one thing that I try to recommend to creators as I bring on board is, what does the viewer get from you? If you're a fashion creator, do they get any advice, any ideas, any inspiration? If you focus on lifestyle and homeware, do you share with your creators where you buy your furniture pieces? In entertainment, it's similar. Do you think your movie and TV takes start a conversation? Do you think you can convince someone to watch a movie? Or are you just talking to the camera and putting it out there? In the end of the day, social media, like any business out there, is about giving and receiving. What you put out there needs to be accepted by the audience, and they should be able to take something from it. Even if it's just as simple as, hey, I should check that movie out. Now, a couple months down the line, you've been posting consistently, you've somewhat found your audience, but you want to understand how you can take your presence online to the next level. I know that every single person out there is saying it, but there's so much truth behind it. Stay consistent. Consistency honestly rewards you the most. Not only by viewers who will understand your upload schedule and always come back to your page if you're starting a series, for example, but also by the algorithm. With the rise of AI and bot followers and botted accounts, social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube specifically, are always in the hunt for figuring out if you're a real person or not, if you're a bot or not. I should put that on a t-shirt. So by being consistent, posting around 4 to 5 times a week, short form content, and I would say once a week, once every 2 weeks max long form content, the algorithm will start to understand you more. It takes a long time, especially with platforms like YouTube, to understand in front of which people they should put your videos. And being consistent, especially if in the beginning you maybe don't get the views or followers that you were kind of hoping for, is the hardest thing, but also the most important thing. 9 times out of 10, when a creator reaches out to me and asks me about why they're maybe not on the level that they would like to be, I fully understand and I'm aware of the fact that people have day jobs, that people go to school, that people can't be on their phone all the time. But if you post a video Monday morning at 8 a.m., Thursday evening at 9 p.m., your followers in the algorithm don't really know what to do with you. So as the motivating as it might be, being stuck on less than 1,000 views on your content, you shouldn't stop posting if you want to take social media seriously. It's now been 6 to 12 months since you started posting. You reached a couple thousand followers and you start to see the same people return to your videos. Now you think it's time to start reaching out to brands. I completely agree with you. There's this myth people have with influencing that you need 1 million followers or 100,000 followers here and there and whatever to start getting brand deals, to start being seen by brand. And that is not true. While obviously having a big number such as 100k followers, 500k followers, or even 1 million is incredible, and it will definitely help you negotiate your rate better. Your follower count is by far not the most important metric when it comes to what brands actually want. Like I said earlier, consistency plays a big part with what brands want to see. If you post twice a month, the brand doesn't really have enough to go off when it comes to figuring out if you would be a good fit to promote their product, their series, whatever. But the overall engagement, such as retention rate, which basically means how long people have watched your video and how many people clicked off it, is unbelievably important. Something else that is really important is your overall engagement on your videos. If you post 3 times a day and you're currently sitting on 40, 50,000 followers on TikTok, for example, and all your videos are hitting 200, 300 views, something isn't working. On the other hand, however, if you then have a video that hits 20, 30, 40k views, you should study the video and apply what works well in it into your content. If you haven't figured it out by now, social media is an endless learning curve. You might spend hours on a video, think this is your best video ever, and it barely hits any views. But then you pick up your phone, talk to it for a minute, and upload it, and it hits 100k. While certain things are obviously important when it comes to boosting your views, but also what brands are looking for, such as high quality content, a good microphone, a good camera, maybe a few graphics here and there isn't really a red line through it all. Certain things might work, certain doesn't, and it's always unique to the creator. Another thing brands are looking for is taking the initiative. Create a media kit. I get so many questions from people that have never had a brand deal and they wonder why. It's because the brand doesn't know who you are. They don't know anything about you. They see your page, they see your socials, but who are you? What are your metrics? For a media kit, I usually recommend put a nice picture of you on it, a little bio, and then most importantly are your age, gender, and geolocation. If you had the chance to already work with brands before, either gifted or paid, or had the chance to attend an event, make a little trusted by, previously worked with section, whatever you want to call it, and add their logos on it. It automatically gives you credibility for a different brand if they see, oh, cool, we want to work with this guy, and he already worked with, I don't know, eBay. That's sick. It makes you look a lot more professional and a lot more credible. If you're good with tech or designing, you can always hyperlink your social media onto your media kit. Now, a little bit more about what agencies are looking for. I can obviously only talk about my personal experience at Oddball and the previous talent agencies I worked for, so things might be different for other talent agencies. I personally, and I'm going to be completely transparent without showing off or being cocky, get a dozen emails a week of content creators that want to take the next step, want to be represented by a talent agency, but they just don't have what it takes or what I'm looking for. Originally, when I started off with Oddball, I had a minimum follower count of 100,000 followers that I was looking for. I've noticed that a lot of brands and clients of mine just really like that number. However, over the last year, this has somewhat shifted. The follower count is still somewhat important to me. However, I'm much more focused now on the actual content, consistency, and what your content is. As mentioned previously, we made the shift 2 years ago to predominantly focus on entertainment creators. We have a couple of miscellaneous creators who are either in comedy or ASMR or fashion and beauty who I love dearly. However, in the UK market, there isn't another talent agency out there who, as far as I know, focuses on film, TV, and entertainment creators. So somewhat of a decent follower count, I think, is pretty important. If you have 2,000 followers and get 20 views per video, there isn't really much we can do with you. But again, it doesn't have to be the 100K, at least not for me. Consistency is definitely what I'm looking for. If I see you uploading a couple times a week and the videos are high quality, that is a massive plus and immediately makes me interested in talking to you. However, something I'm really open about that I don't see a lot of other talent agencies talk about is, would we get along on an interpersonal level? I absolutely adore my career. I love my job. I love my creators. However, there have been situations in the past where a creator signed on, where we professionally worked so well together, but on a personal level, it just wasn't the right fit. And I speak to the creators that are signed with me more than I speak to my own family. The last thing I want is to log in the morning and think to myself, oh, I have to now speak to that person. And the same obviously goes out to content creators. While being signed with an agency is a massive career boost, especially with an agency that is already established in the industry and has relationship with existing clients and brands, there's so much communication between the talent manager and the talent that you don't really want to drag having to speak to them. The way we do things is we have an onboarding call, and if things go well, I send out a draft contract. So there are certain things in the contract that could be a bit confusing, and especially if you've never had a call with a talent agency, a contract feels very scary. So there are always a few things that I would recommend keeping an eye out for. First of all, agency fee. The industry standard is 20%. There are certain agencies out there who take 25 to even 30%, which I think is the industry standard has and will hopefully ever be 20%. Also, something important to note, the agency fee should only apply to the brand deals and brand opportunities that your agency got for you. YouTube AdSense, TikTok Creator Fund, or whatever other commission-based thing is out there, an agency shouldn't, in my opinion, take a cut from it. Also, the length of the contract. Our contracts are a year long. We offer a 3-month probation period where, again, we can kind of assess if we would work well together professionally and interpersonally. And in the first 3 months, such as any other normal 9 to 5, you have the chance to put in a notice, I can put in a notice, and we can go our separate ways. However, and I'm saying this very cocky, we offer an exit clause, which basically means that throughout the whole 12 months of the contract, a creator, if it just isn't the right fit anymore, can leave. Obviously, that works the other way around as well. With social media always changing and content creators, changing their mind on what they want to post or do online, the last thing you want to do is join an agency where you're tied down for a year or even 2 years. I've asked on Instagram if anyone has any questions, and there are a couple of questions I want to answer. First up, best thing to include on a media kit. As mentioned before, a nice picture of yourself, a little bio kind of explaining who you are and what you do. If you can, hyperlink your social media, your insights, age, gender, and geolocation, as well as if you had the chance to work with brands previously, include them as well. It always looks nice. Any tips on views? There isn't really a foolproof strategy on how you can up your views. However, as mentioned, consistency and figuring out what might hinder you from being pushed out. Does your video look like it's filmed on a brick? Is the sound quality absolutely awful? Do you talk about things that are engaging that people actually care about? These are all things to consider. Let's say most of your videos are stuck between 1 to 5K views. If you then have a video that hits 25, 30K views, study that video. Figure out what works, figure out what is engaging in it. Did you film in a different location? Did you film daylight instead of a studio light? Did you use a microphone? What is so different that worked? And try to implement it into all of your other videos. The difference between an influencer and a content creator. In my opinion, everyone is an influencer. Me posting this video to my 50 subscribers, I'm an influencer. Your mom posting her cheesecake recipe on Facebook, she's an influencer. Influencers for me is everyone who has the ability to pick up a phone, film themselves, put it out there. While the traditional term influencer obviously comes from the word influencing, there aren't really a lot of influencers that actually influence. Yes, if someone posts a miniskirt that they bought at Zara online and you bought the same one, did she influence you? Sure. Would I call this traditionally influencing? Not really. Content creators, however, in my opinion, is the next step from being an influencer. When you have mastered the craft and you have established yourself not only on one platform but also on multiple, people come to you specifically for advice, for takes, for whatever it might be. You are a content creator. You make content for the craft. You're not out there filming a haul for your friends. You actually create content. Of course, both these words are interchangeable. There isn't really a massive difference between them. However, when I sign an influencer, I like having the conversation with them and asking them where they see themselves in 3 to 5 years. And if it's picking up a phone on the whim, posting a video, and then just leaving it be, you're an influencer. However, if you want to turn this into a business, establish yourself on multiple platforms and work with your favorite brands, you're a content creator. Again, this is my opinion. People have different definitions for those words, but this is how I like to see it. How do I make high quality content consistently, especially if I have multiple niches? It depends on what the niches are. Entertainment, as mentioned earlier, is a super broad spectrum. It could be film, TV, it could be music, it could be musicals, so you have the variety of focusing on whatever you enjoy. However, starting a social media account comes with a lot of personal work, in my opinion. You have to figure out who you are and what your interests are. I, for example, struggle a lot with it. I've been playing with the idea of putting myself on the internet for the last 3 years. However, I never knew in which direction I can narrow myself down. I enjoy traveling, I enjoy fashion, I enjoy food, I enjoy being a business owner, I enjoy being a baddie. There are so many things that make me me. Social media platforms get confused when one day you post a fashion haul and the next day you show a video of how you can groom your dog correctly. So I would recommend write a list of everything you're interested in, everything you want to talk about, all of your hobbies, yada yada yada, and pick 3 to 4 that you can link together. Let's say you like clothes, but also traveling. You can easily make a vlog showing your outfit while walking the streets of Marrakesh. You enjoy traveling and anime? Go to Japan. Show them the mecca of anime. I hope you kind of understand where I'm going with this. I think if those themes, those personal pillars can be linked together, there's no harm in trying it out. But if they're on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, I would really focus on your main hobby, your main ambition. And who knows, down the line, when you've built an audience on this platform, you can always make a second account talking about the complete opposite thing. This video has become a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but I hope that my advice helps some of you out there. So even if you think to yourself, I'm too old to start, I don't have the energy to start, the influencer market is so oversaturated, just give it a try. It won't hurt anyone.